AC7 represents more than just a comfort enhancement, Neri explained, her voice steady despite her nervousness. With proper neural function restored, Azurians can detect environmental factors our equipment sometimes misses. During trials, participants identified radiation leaks and molecular anomalies before instruments registered them. Ta continued, this has practical applications beyond science. Azurian sensory abilities, when not suppressed by our atmosphere, could revolutionize environmental monitoring, medical diagnostics, and security operations. The council members asked detailed questions, which Neri and Tai answered with confidence backed by months of careful research. Finally, the head counselor spoke. Based on your findings, we are approving full implementation of the Adaptation Compound Program. This discovery will become the foundation of expanded cooperation between our species. That evening, the research team gathered for a celebration. Humans sipped coffee or wine, while the Azurians took small measured doses of AC7 in water. For the first time, both species could fully enjoy each other's company without barriers. Director Kim raised his glass to unexpected discoveries and to breaking rules when necessary, added Delegate Jun, surprising everyone with this uncharacteristic statement. His skin flashed briefly with humor before returning to its formal white. Later, Neri and Tai stepped outside onto the research center's observation deck. The night sky above was filled with stars, many of which hosted worlds humans and Azurians had yet to explore together. Have you thought about what comes next? Tai asked. After the program is fully implemented. Neri's skin rippled with thoughtful blue. The exchange program is being expanded tenfold. They've asked me to help train the new Azurian scientists coming to Earth. You'll be perfect for that, Ta said. No one understands both sides better than you. Neri looked up at the stars. When I first arrived, I felt constantly disconnected from everything around me, like I was experiencing Earth through a fog. Now I can truly see your world and help others see it too. All because you were curious enough to try coffee, Ta said with a smile. All because you were kind enough to share it, Neri replied, her skin glowing with the warm pink of friendship. Above them, a transport ship carrying the next group of Azurian researchers descended through the atmosphere. They would arrive to a very different experience than Neri had, one where they could fully appreciate Earth from their first day, thanks to a simple human drink and the scientific curiosity it had inspired. The greatest barriers between species, Neri had learned, weren't always physical. Sometimes they were simply matters of perception, waiting for someone to see things differently. We recognize the potential value of this discovery. We will establish a properly supervised research protocol to investigate these effects further. Relief washed through Neri, her skin brightening to a happy pink before she could control it. There are conditions, Jun continued. All testing will follow strict guidelines. No unauthorized consumption of human substances, and the findings must be shared equally between our species. Of course, Director Kim agreed quickly. After the delegation left, Tai approached Neri. That was close. I thought they might send you home. They still might, Neri admitted, but at least the research will continue. I'm sorry for getting you in trouble, Ta said. I shouldn't have shown you the coffee. Neri's skin rippled with genuine amusement. In Azurian culture, we have a saying, knowledge worth having rarely comes without cost. This knowledge is definitely worth a reprimand. What had begun as a misunderstanding was becoming something much more important, a potential breakthrough in human-Azurian relations. And despite the formal reprimand waiting for her, Neri couldn't help feeling that her accidental discovery might change history for both their worlds. 2 months passed in a whirlwind of carefully controlled experiments. What began as Neri's accidental discovery had grown into the research center's most important project. The lab had been expanded, new equipment installed, and additional scientists brought in from both Earth and the Azurian homeworld. Neri stood before a holographic display, reviewing the latest test results with Ta. Her formal reprimand had been noted in her record, but she remained the project's lead researcher alongside Ta. The isolated compounds are stable, Ta said, pointing to a molecular model floating between them. We've identified the 7 key components from coffee that affect Azurian neural pathways. Neri nodded, her skin glowing with professional satisfaction. And we've removed the caffeine entirely. The new formula provides neural clarity without any stimulant effects. What they now called adaptation compound AC7 had moved beyond coffee. The team had isolated the specific molecules that counteracted the effects of Earth's atmosphere on Azurian physiology, then synthesized a more stable, longer-lasting version. The lab door slid open as Director Kim entered with Delegate Jun. Both looked pleased. The Joint Committee has reviewed your progress, Director Kim announced. They've approved the next phase of testing. Jun's skin showed the deep blue of formal approval. 20 Azurian volunteers will arrive next week to begin extended trials. If successful, this could change everything about our presence on Earth. After the officials left, Neri and Ta continued working, their movements synchronized after months of collaboration. They had become more than colleagues. They were friends who understood each other across the divide of their different species. I still can't believe we got here because you broke the rules, Ta said with a smile. Neri's skin flickered with amusement. Sometimes rules need to be questioned. That's how science advances. The volunteer trial exceeded all expectations. Azurians taking the AC7 compound maintained full sensory capacity and normal energy levels for extended periods in Earth's atmosphere. Their cognitive tests matched baseline scores from their homeworld. Most importantly, they reported feeling comfortable on Earth for the first time. 6 weeks later, Neri and Ta stood before the Joint Scientific Council, 12 leaders from both species who would determine the future of their work. The grand meeting hall in the embassy was filled with officials, scientists, and media representatives. Caffeine, mainly. Want to analyze some? I know you can't drink it, but maybe it's interesting chemically. Ta brought her a small sample in a clear container. Neri retrieved her portable analyzer from her pocket and scanned the liquid. The results made her skin flash with surprised yellow. This is remarkable, she said, studying the readout. These compounds are structurally similar to Vitha extract from my homeworld, a medicinal plant we use for mental clarity during important ceremonies. Really? That's fascinating, Ta said. Convergent evolution across planets. As Tai turned to greet a colleague, Neri stared at the coffee. The chemical similarities were striking. On her world, Vitha was used to counter the effects of sensory overload. Could coffee perhaps address the sensory dampening Azurians experienced on Earth? She glanced around. No one was watching. The protocols were clear, no human consumables, but this was a unique research opportunity. Just a drop would be enough for basic analysis. Carefully, Neri dipped her finger into the liquid and touched it to her tongue, expecting the bitter taste described in the files. What she didn't expect was the immediate effect. Like a fog lifting, her senses sharpened. Colors brightened. Sounds became clearer. The perpetual heaviness in her limbs vanished. For the first time since arriving on Earth, she felt fully herself. Neri, are you okay? Ta had returned, looking concerned. Your skin is doing something I haven't seen before. Neri realized her skin was cycling through colors rapidly, the Azurian equivalent of wide-eyed shock. She forced her coloration to stabilize. I'm fine, she said, though her mind raced with implications. The music just changed to a particularly interesting pattern. Ta looked skeptical, but didn't press. As the gathering continued, Neri carefully observed her own reactions. The effect was temporary but undeniable. This accidental discovery could change everything about Azurian-human relations. The only question was whether to report it, or to investigate further on her own first. The next morning, Neri woke earlier than usual. The effects of the coffee had faded, but the memory remained vivid. She had experienced Earth with full clarity for the first time. The colors, sounds, even the subtle vibrations of the building systems, everything had been sharper, more present. She needed to understand exactly what had happened. As the research center slowly came to life around her, Neri slipped into her laboratory. No one would question her early arrival. She had already gained a reputation for dedication. Using her personal equipment rather than the lab's shared systems, she began analyzing the sample of coffee she had secretly kept. The chemical composition was complex. The caffeine was only part of what made it interesting. There were other compounds, antioxidants, acids, and trace minerals that together created something remarkably similar to Vitha extract from her homeworld. Is this a cultural study I'm unaware of? Senior researcher Doe asked, suddenly appearing behind her. Neri's skin flashed alarmed orange before she could control it. Senior Doe, good morning. I was just examining the human beverage for cultural understanding. Doe looked skeptical. Remember protocols, junior researcher. Observation only, no consumption. Of course, Neri said, but after Doe left, she returned to her analysis with even greater determination. By midday, she had developed a theory. Earth's atmospheric composition, specifically its higher nitrogen content, affected Azurian neural pathways in ways that dampened sensory input. This was why her people found extended Earth stays so difficult. But certain compounds in coffee seemed to temporarily counteract this effect. She needed more data. More importantly, she needed to test her theory again. During the lunch break, Neri found Tai in the cafeteria.